part of my suitcase album tutorial, and now we will make the inner part of the cover. And I would like to quickly show you how I usually count how many lines I need to make for this accordion harmonica element. So I'm just sketching all the bumps and I'm counting all the points where I need to add scoring, and in this case I will need 6 pages, which means 18 scoring lines. So I cutted this piece of paper. It's slightly smaller than the 13 centimeters, like half centimeter smaller, and it's 30 centimeters long, but I will trim it down. I don't need as many. So I'm starting at 3 centimeters on my scoring board, and I'm adding 18 scoring lines. So first part is 3 centimeters, and I needed to overlap it over the left part of the cover, and I will leave exactly the same part on the other side. So 3 centimeters on each side plus 18 lines, which means 17 centimeters of paper. I like to add extra centimeters at first and trim it later in case I made some error. And now I need to bend uh, and form the harmonica element. So I'm just adding scoring the paper using the scoring lines, creating those peaks with 1 centimeter gap between them. So my pages will be 1 centimeter apart, and the peaks are also 1 centimeter. You can change the measurements if you have like inches instead of centimeters, of course, so you'll need to adjust it. I'm working on centimeters, and I'm using my bone folder to kind of make it really folded. And now I'm ready to apply glue, and I'm adding glue in the middle of each crease, so 6 peaks 6 creases and 6 shots of glue in between them. I'm not adding glue on those flat 1 centimeter surfaces, only in the creases, and I'm folding them and really working with my bone folder. I want everything to be totally flat and bending on left and right, because this is the element where the pages will be added to, so I need it to be really kind of straight and flexible. That's why I like using scoring board. You can make it with a ruler, pencil, and some scoring tool, but it will be a pain. Scoring board here is a lifesaver. So I bended it on the left, I bended it to the right, and I have six folds that will hold all the pages, and I'm working on the other side too, and I'm trimming down this page. I don't need to make it very even because it will be hidden under the inside part of the covers, and I'm ready to glue everything down to my album cover, and I'm applying glue all over the surface, including the flat area in between the creases. But I'm starting to work on how much pressed into the cover it should be in the middle. So I'm leaving the flaps on the sides not glued that well, because I need to press this paper into this folding element where the cover folds from the back element. So I just need to make sure everything is straight, and I'm applying pressure on those 1 centimeter gaps, and now I'm pressing this paper into this gap, and I'm doing exactly the same on the other side. And when the glue is still wet, I'm working on it, so I'm bending it and making sure the paper went to this kind of crease edge. It's hard to describe with words. So you don't glue it flat, you glue it and then open and close the album to make sure everything is aligned perfectly. And it is a very important part, because if the glue will dry flat, you will have like no flexibility to your album. So it's very important to make sure that when it's still wet and the paper is kind of more flexible that you can still work on it. So the harmonica part is done, and now I'm making myself kind of a stencil of pages that will go into the album. I measured the cover, and I take it out half centimeter from the top and the bottom, and half centimeter from one side. So I'm trimming the paper to be a little bit smaller, so I don't want it to kind of stick out from the cover. So it's 20.8 by 18 centimeters. So just be sure it's really straight, because this is the stencil I will be using for all of the pages. And I'm also adding this curved edge. I have like a edge a corner puncher that makes this arch, but it has like a different diameter, so I'm using the cover to make a stencil. And because of the cover having those bumpy corners, I measured my paper to those kind of smaller rectangle. It fitted into the curvy corners, and I'm trimming everything down with the scissors, and it will be my stencil for all of the other pages, because all the pages will have those curvy rounded corners. So I'm just marking it's a stencil. I will not take it and use it any further. I'm checking if it fits, and it fits perfectly. So it will be the cover, inner part of the cover, and all of the pages of the album will be in exactly this size. And when I'm happy with how it looks and my stencil is ready, I can work on the first inner cover part. So I took this A3 sized cardstock in a Kraft finish, and I will be filling with it the inner part of the cover. And it might look chaotic to you, but there is a plan for it. So I'm using the album page to mark where exactly I need my cover to go, because covers needed to be like fitted to the very edges to mask this folding of fabric. So I know the width of the album, but I want to add some flaps too. So I'm not doing like the first cover and then adding flaps. I'm doing one bigger piece that will be decorated later. So I have two flaps right now. It will be adjusted later, and I measured album from the top, because otherwise it wouldn't go into my A4 size trimmer. So I'm just marking how much need I trim of the third part, because I want to have two full width of the paper and one smaller flap on the top of it. So it will go like this, and I need to curve the corners. So I'm using my stencil, and I'm sketching with it with the pencil on each corner how it's supposed to look, and I'm trimming it with scissors, so all of the corners will be similar. It's not perfect, so you won't always have like a perfect curve arch. You have to just live with it. You maybe have some better corner puncher than me, and you will be able to adjust it, or some other tool. I don't, so I had to just live with the hand cutted corners, and they will this cover will fit like this, and I will have I already have pictures that need to fit into this area. um, and I will just try if it's exactly how I want them. So two pictures here, one picture on top, and this will be just decorative flap. But I need it to be a little bit smaller, so I will trim it later. So I will trim it after it will be glued down to the album. So don't do that. Trim it before, but I didn't know exactly what I'm going to do. Each page was like spontaneous. project, I didn't plan making specific pages. I printed pictures and I was thinking how many flaps this page needs to hold all the photos, and this was the starting point of all the designs. So I'm gluing down the cover into the album, and now I need to adjust exactly the shape of the flaps I want, and I will be able to fill this area with pictures, memorabilia, and other things. So this is like that's simple. And again, I'm trimming it down, but as I said, do it before you glue things down, because otherwise you will have to make a little bit of gymnastics. But I'm happy with how it looks. You could use like a craft knife or just a scissors, and I'm adding the rounded corners with the puncher I have, so they have a little bit like different angle, but I still like how it looks, and I'm ready to decorate this side. So this was the part 2. Here are some other videos, part 1 and walk through the album. Thank you so much for staying with me, and don't forget to come back for another part of my suitcase album tutorial. Bye!